Story time. So some time ago, I was a CNA. And I was working in this, I had a number of jobs. And one of the jobs, and the reason why at this time, I know that now in my nursing career, I prefer per diem because I don't like commitment. But when I was a CNA, I was in nursing school and I couldn't commit to a set 3 12-hour shift or 5 8-hour shifts a week. You know what I'm saying? So I just had a bunch of per diems. Whenever I tried to pick up here and they didn't have any shifts for me, I could call another spot and be like, yo, can I come in? You know, I need the money, money. So I was at one of my per diem spots working on a maternal newborn unit. And my, what a shift that was. So sometimes what will happen is CNAs will get pulled. It is rare, or at least it was rare during this time, that nurses will get pulled from a maternal newborn floor, whether it be labor and delivery, well baby nursery, NICU, or postpartum, antepartum, whatever. It's rare that a nurse from those areas get pulled to work on a med-surg floor or a telemetry floor. It's just rare. It didn't happen during that time, you know. I have not, as a nurse, worked on those floors very long or very frequently. So I can't really account for what happens today. CNAs, it didn't matter. You're getting pulled. So if they need you on another floor, you're going to another floor. And a lot of times at this facility, if they needed you on another portion of maternal newborn, you would get pulled from postpartum to L&D. You would get pulled from postpartum to the nursery, from the nursery to sometimes the NICU. And these places are highly specialized units, you know? But that means a lot more for a nurse than it does for an RN, or excuse me, for a CNA, or at least it did at that time. So that being said, I was working on postpartum, and my responsibility at this time during the day, it was day shift because I would alternate from day and night depending on whatever shift was available. My responsibility at that time was really just to make sure that all of the moms had their ice water, or that they were comfortable, or did they need more ice, or not just for water, but for other areas. Or did they need more pads or equipment or things for their baby or assistance? You know, just what do you need? What can I help you with that does not immediately require an RN? Because again, I was a CNA at this time. So with that being said, in the process of me helping this one mom change her baby, very simple, I hear code pink. Now, in a lot of facilities, the codes don't all mean the same. I will tell you one thing. Code blue means the same all across the board. I can't talk about other countries, but I would think code blue is standard. It means that the patient is not breathing. Okay? Code stroke, they're having a stroke. Okay, there are certain things that are pretty standard that mean the same all across the board. That's not the same for all the codes. Okay, I know that at one facility that I worked at, a code silver was the equivalent to a code gray at another facility. And it meant that somebody was being attacked, that they needed additional security and backup. Anyways, that being said, code pink indicated child abduction. So I pause. You know when you hear something and you're like, I know what that means, but there's no way that could be happening right now. There's no way. Is it? And so I step out of this patient's room. Y'all, I caught a glimpse of myself in my little monitor over here, and I feel like my hair is speaking another language. I don't know. It'll just have to do. Anyways. So I come out of the patient's room and I see everybody running around bussing it. trying to figure out what's going on, trying to account for the babies. The nursery nurse comes through the double doors, and she's like, I don't know what happened. I don't know when it happened. I just know that the last person she was with the mom. And then I look at the mom and the baby's gone. And then the mom starts asking, oh, I forgot to ask this about my baby. I wanted to show you this on my baby. And so she's speaking so fast. Essentially what happened was she was in the nursery. Mom, the mother of a baby that was just pushed out, was in the nursery with her baby, seeing her baby. And as they were getting ready to come back to her room, she said, I forgot to ask you a question to the nurse. I saw this spot on my baby. So then the nurse is like, let me grab the baby real quick. So in this particular situation, all of the babies, they were all in the same place and they were labeled. Yes, labeled. I'm not trying to dehumanize them, but yes, everybody's labeled when they get in the hospital, because you cannot confuse patient information. You can't send somebody's baby home with the wrong parents. So yes, everybody was labeled. So she could have gone in there, pick up the mother's baby amongst the other babies, make sure that it was the right one with the label on the ankle, a little bracelet. But when she went in there, she was like, I'm sorry, can you tell me your baby's first and last name one more time? She goes in and she doesn't see the baby. Now, at this hospital, what happened was there's a nursery and then there's a little sitting area. And in the NICU, there's also the same thing. Protocol is very different because NICU babies are a lot sicker, or they're in a much more compromising or vulnerable position where their health is concerned. Nursery, things, I don't want to say they're more lax, but I guess the protocol for entering the nursery it's not the same. It's not necessary for it to be the same because those babies were born without additional complications or without like vulnerabilities. I hope that all makes sense. That doesn't require additional care or a longer amount of time in the hospital. So they could sit in a certain area and hang out with their baby, feed baby. It was a very nicely set up little sitting area, like right beside, almost like next to the nursery. Like it was all behind doors. And then you would walk in another door, you're in the nursery, another door, you're in the sitting area. Okay? I hope this all makes sense. It makes sense in my head, obviously, because I was there. But anyways, so the mother is saying, I just handed you the baby. There's no way at any point in time that my child could have disappeared. Go back in there and find my child. And so now the mom is panicking. Okay, the mom was in a wheelchair and now the mom is holding her abdomen like beside herself in hysterics, coming down the hallway behind this nurse like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I'm looking at everybody else and everybody else looks just as confused. I'm not familiar with the code pink. I mean, I'm familiar with it, but like, you know, in your head, you're like, yeah, but is that ever really going to happen? Well. So I'm just doing whatever somebody who seems to know what to do is telling me to do. I'm just following instructions. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of other people enter the unit. There's a series of announcements overhead. You're supposed to shut the hospital down, apparently, so that nobody gets out. Wherever this baby is, we're going to find the baby in the hospital, right? Now, the way this hospital is set up, this unit is set up, and it's not always the same, but at this particular hospital, all of the maternal newborn units were on the same floor. You get out the elevator, there's the east wing and the west wing, and then there's like this north wing. So you get out of the elevator and there's a nice little sitting area for everybody. You just get out, a sitting area and a view. You know, we're on the one of the higher floors. So you're getting a pretty solid view of the city. And then if you go to your right, you're going to postpartum. If you go to your left, you're going to 3 separate sections, right? Or 2 separate sections. The nursery that veers off to the right, and then the NICU that veers off to the left. And then if you go on the other side of the elevator, there is labor and delivery. And I've been to a number of different hospitals that have it kind of set up that way, where all of the maternal newborn floors or units are on the same floor. So it wasn't strange to me to see this. So the units are pretty lengthy. You know, they go pretty far back, and sometimes they go in a circle, right? On postpartum, when you walk all the way to the back of the hallway, okay, you can, I don't necessarily know the best way to explain it, but you could literally hover back there and it's like nice and quiet and peaceful. There's no rooms in that little back hallway. There's a little door. It's just like a nice little secluded section. So everybody's running around in circles. Everybody's following questions, asking questions. Everybody get back in your room, close the door. We're waiting for instruction. Please follow instructions. Please keep calm. Please da 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 yaga da da. And so at one point, the charge nurse asks me if I could head to the supply closet to please grab something for a nurse. For one of the nurses that was looking for a supply. And I was like, yeah, no problem. So I'm, jogging on back there. And just before that back hallway section that I was telling you all about is the supply room. And I hear someone humming. So I just kind of like peek my head around and try to open the door. And then I realize that this person that's humming is holding a baby. It's an older person. So then I peek my head back around and I was like, is that the missing baby? Now, I don't know, because honestly, when a baby comes out the womb, it's not like they have a whole bunch of distinct features. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they're speaking. They're a new baby. They look like a new baby. They resemble a new baby. When you see a new baby, you immediately know that's a new baby. New babies look like new babies, okay? So I go back up, don't even get the supply that the charge nurse asked me for. And I was like, there's somebody back there holding a baby. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, there is a human holding a newborn baby. The baby is wrapped in the newborn blanket that you get from the hospital when the baby is just born, okay? Y'all should go back there and assess. And so like a flock of people head back there and I follow them. And they startle this older woman and she's like, oh God. And then this one man starts yelling, ma'am, hand over the baby, or some just really theatrical kind of thing, but understandably so. And so the mom is like waddling down the hallway. And when she gets there, she's like, Mom, to the older lady holding the baby. She was like, what are you doing? And so the mom is like, what are you talking about? I told you I was going to hold the baby. I told you I was going to take a walk with the baby. And so the patient, the woman who, just had a whole meltdown because she thought that her baby was kidnapped, understandably so, was like, oh my God, you're right. I totally forgot that I handed you the baby. Okay. So there's this like collective exhale. Some of it is associated with being annoyed. Some of it is associated with being relieved. I just said, tell me what you need me to grab. What was it that you sent me back here for, baby girl? She was like, don't worry about it. I'll get it myself. So there's a whole slew of things, paperwork that needs to be filled out. You still got to do it, because when you call a code pink, you can't just pretend that you didn't call a code pink. You can't just pretend that you didn't just alert the entire hospital that a child is missing. There's a protocol. There's paperwork that needs to be filled out, an incident report, a near miss, whatever you want to call it. I said all of this to say, having a child, pushing a baby out is a physical feat, a mental feat, and an emotional feat. Because homegirl literally handed her child to her mother and forgot within that span of time. And I'm trying to figure out how that lady disappeared so quick. Like, anyways, power to all the new moms. Everybody's struggling with postpartum depression. Everybody's struggling with trying to get their baby to latch. Everybody's struggling with any complications. I'm rooting for you. I'm praying for you. I wish y'all all the best, and I hope you guys enjoyed this story. Fast forward, I know that I have been promoting this campaign that I was running with Seed and Spark. I just want to express that it did not go in the direction that I expected it to go, because Seed and Spark does this thing where they don't charge you right away. They wait until the very end of the campaign, which is between 30 and 60 days to actually charge you. And I think that that is a bit ludicrous, considering a standard transaction takes 3 to 5 days to go through. And even then, people forget. So in 30 days, life is going to go on. Expenses are going to take place. So if you donated to my campaign and you got a notification that I got the green light, thank you. If you got some sort of notification stating that they weren't able to collect your donation, don't even worry about it. I'm still grateful, because again, I can empathize and understand how ridiculous the expectation is to donate and remember that you donated 30 to 45 days after making the donation. So if anybody is still feeling generous, you know, I'm still on this quest to bring this project to life. We are still doing a number of things to make it happen, but any donation is still appreciated. Another link is associated with donating. And if you guys, this is not with Seed and Spark. So with this campaign, if you donate, the money is coming out immediately. You do not have to worry about getting a notification 30 to 45 days later, finally taking your money. That is what I have to say. I have moved Epstein Street and Shadow of a Doubt over to my Patreon, so that is another way to support your girl. Make sure that you click the link below to join. Thanks, guys.